Retiring in Georgetown, Texas can be one of the best decisions you ever make, or one of the most frustrating and expensive if you don't know what to look for. And the surprising part, most retirees fall into the same traps, not because they're careless, but because Georgetown isn't as simple or predictable as it looks on the surface. Here are just a few of the things people get blindsided by. How dramatically different each part of Georgetown feels, socially, financially, and lifestyle-wise. Costs that can catch retirees off guard, especially taxes, insurance, and long-term maintenance, different between communities. Misreading the community culture, ending up in a neighborhood that doesn't match the pace, privacy, or activity level that they actually want. My name is Stuart Sutton. I'm a Georgetown, Texas real estate specialist, and I've helped so many retirees make confident, informed moves to Georgetown and within Georgetown by focusing on lifestyle, fit, long-term costs, and the daily realities that most people overlook on a quick visit. So today I'm going to walk you through the biggest mistakes I see retirees make and how to avoid each and every one. Mistake number 10, thinking Georgetown is one lifestyle. You know, a lot of retirees visit once, fall in love with that incredible historic square or Sun City and those vast amenities, and they assume that the entire area feels the same. But Georgetown is incredibly diverse. Lifestyle, taxes, traffic, noise, even the pace of life change dramatically depending on where you choose. Sun City offers a structured, amenity-rich, activity-heavy lifestyle, but it's not for everybody. Acreage properties offer privacy, space, elbow room, but more upkeep and sometimes longer drive times than you want. Communities east of I-35 feel different than those west of I-35. Even retirement-friendly 55-plus neighborhoods have different HOA expectations, rules, and social cultures. You know, it's easy for buyers to fall in love with downtown and that feeling and want to be close. But choosing the wrong side of town can make them spend more time driving than they ever expected. So here are the smart moves to take. Map out your real lifestyle, grocery trips, fitness routines, social activities, medical needs. Tour the multiple types of communities, not just the ones that look pretty and have lots of marketing online. If you're thinking about an acre or more, drive the area, morning, midday, evenings, just to see what the real drive times are. Spend time in Sun City and the other 55-plus neighborhoods, because there are differences in the pace and the rules and the culture in those neighborhoods. And next up, once you've narrowed your areas down, areas you like, you're going to want to understand something that most retirees don't expect until they're already here: property taxes. Mistake number 9, underestimating property taxes and long-term costs. A lot of retirees move to Texas thinking, no state income tax, this is great, my cost of living is going to go down. Well, here's the part many people don't realize until it's too late. Texas relies heavily on property taxes because we don't have state income tax. Therefore, the city of Georgetown and Williamson County tax rates will be higher than most out-of-state buyers expect. And that can affect your monthly payment if you're using an escrow, and of course your annual budget if you're not. Now, age 65 exemptions can help. They freeze your taxes, but only if you plan properly and file correctly. Sometimes you can move an existing 65 exemption, so make sure you're aware of that. Some neighborhoods have MUD taxes or PID assessments, and those can last for decades. MUD is Municipal Utility District, PID is Public Improvement District. Say that 3 times. People from low tax states like Colorado and Arkansas are really surprised when they get here and have higher payments if they're using a lender. And of course, some neighborhoods have PIDs, which can add hundreds of dollars every year, and I know a couple who was totally surprised by that. Smart move, ask for your projected and your actual tax bill based on the price of the home, the actual price, so that you really know how to budget. And work with a lender who understands Texas escrows. Miscalculations are far too common. And be sure you understand that 65 exemption, it is really a good one. Compare neighborhoods. You can pay thousands differently for nearly identical homes in different areas. So we know that your retirement requires clarity on long-term costs, and you just don't need surprises. Property taxes can shape your budget and your mortgage. So hope that makes sense. Next up, after you understand taxes, there's another major cost most retirees overlook: insurance. So mistake number 8 is assuming that Texas insurance costs are normal. See, most retirees think insurance is just insurance. They expect it to be reasonable, predictable, straightforward. Well, Texas is different. We have windstorms and hailstorms, and those can dramatically affect your premiums. The rising costs of replacement have pushed those premiums up as well. Older homes and established communities might need additional coverage, and it might come as a surprise. Some areas require higher wind and hail deductibles, and believe it or not, not every insurance carrier writes policies in every zip code, so your favorite insurance company might not even be an option. I do know a retiree who bought a beautiful resale home only to learn that even though the roof wasn't bad, they needed a replacement to get their usual preferred rates. And buyers from mid-weather states don't realize that roof claims are very common in Texas, and that affects future premiums. So smart moves, get insurance quotes before you ever write an offer, especially on older homes. Ask about the age of the roof, the materials, and the claim history on that house. That's important. And also consider an inspection by a roofer in addition to your home inspection. I'm also going to give you one more tip, and that is don't ever let an insurance company look at your roof without your roofer there. It's so important that you make that an absolute rule. Mistake number 7, choosing a home before understanding the community rules. You know, retirees often fall in love with a house and barely skim the HOA documents. That's where frustrations can really begin. You see, 55 communities have very specific rules about guests, parking, landscaping, home modifications. Acreage properties may have minimal rules, but that also means fewer protections against neighbors doing what you may not really love. Some communities have strict yard maintenance requirements, while others don't really enforce much. And it's a really good idea to know what kind of community you're looking in. I've been doing this a long time, and I do know a buyer who moved into a 55-plus neighborhood who didn't realize their grandkids couldn't stay with them all summer like they always had. And of course, the stories about people who have restrictive exterior guidelines and can't really do the painting or the modifications they want with their porch. So smart moves. Read the HOA docs very carefully. I can certainly summarize those restrictions for you, no problem. Know the guest rules, the rental rules, the architectural rules. Ask about upcoming amendments and changes. Rules sometimes change in these communities as they evolve. And visit the neighborhood at a few different times to understand the pace and the activity levels, maybe even talk to some neighbors. The rules of a community can shape your lifestyle just as much as the house. And mistake number 6, misjudging drive times, traffic, daily conveniences. When people imagine retirement, they picture convenience, calm mornings, short drives, easy access. But Georgetown's layout can catch some people off guard. So from east to west, Georgetown offers very different access to shopping, healthcare, daily conveniences. Some acreage neighborhoods may be 10 or 20 minutes from basics like pharmacies or groceries. The traffic and construction along I-35 can also add some unexpected delays. Medical care can be spread out across multiple parts of Georgetown, even into Round Rock, maybe even into Austin. I know someone who chose a beautiful acreage property. It was absolutely gorgeous. But then they realized that every doctor's appointment meant 25, 30, 35 minutes in the car. So here's some smart moves. Drive your daily routes before you actually choose your final home. Use that traffic data, not just the map. Can't tell you how many times I've looked at Google Maps and said, it's not that far, or hey, it's farther than that. Consider if you really want to drive less or don't mind in your retirement years. And understand which side of Georgetown best matches your rhythm and your needs. Next up, speaking of rhythm, there's another mistake retirees often make, not preparing for Texas summers. Mistake number 5, underestimating Texas heat and how it affects daily life. You see, most retirees moving to Georgetown, they know it's warm, but they don't really understand how the heat shapes day-to-day life in Georgetown, Texas. I always say we stay indoor in the summer like northerners stay indoor during the winter, because summer heat affects your walking schedule, your outdoor hobbies, even your energy levels. It's going to influence how often you use outdoor amenities, when you golf, play pickleball, etc. Homes with older HVACs might struggle in August, and utility bills can rise accordingly, especially if the home isn't well insulated. And buyers from milder climates are surprised that daily outdoor walks have to happen really early in the morning or in the evening. I do know someone who bought acreage thinking they're going to take care of their own yard. They were looking forward to it, but then realized it was just too hot in the summer to do that. So smart moves. Ask about insulation, age of the windows, age of the air conditioning, and the capacity of the air conditioning. And tour homes at different times of day, not just in the morning. It's also a good idea to walk communities in the summer if you're able to do that. So factor in shade, outdoor living design, yard and maintenance requirements, all that's going to come into play. While heat is one factor, another surprise is how much your day-to-day routine changes depending on the social environment that you buy-in. Now, you wouldn't think this is a mistake people make, but it is. They assume all 55 communities feel the same. A lot of retirees think Sun City is Sun City, or that any 55-plus neighborhood offers the same lifestyle. But the culture, the pace, the social dynamic can vary dramatically from one community to another, as well as the costs. You see, some communities are activity-heavy, clubs, golf, events. That's all going on nonstop. Others feel quieter, slower, smaller, a little more private and intimate. Some people want constant engagement. Others want peace and quiet. The wrong fit in that area can leave you feeling isolated or maybe even overwhelmed. I know people who thought that they wanted high activity and then realized they really preferred something with smaller gatherings and fewer obligations. So here are the smart moves. Visit multiple 55-plus communities, not just Sun City. Tour different parts of Sun City itself, because the experiences will differ based on those different areas. You might even ask residents about what they love and what they might change. Spend time in community centers. That's a great way to get a feel for the energy and what's going on in a community. Mistake number 3, not considering the immediate neighborhood culture. You know, it's easy to fall in love with the home and overlook the neighbors. But for retirees, neighbors matter more than almost anything. Some streets are very social, others kind of keep to themselves. Some have early morning walkers, others pretty quiet. In 55 communities, certain pockets are more active than others. And let's face it, on acreage, your closest neighbor might still impact your daily life with their animals, their project, certain noise levels. So I know someone, and actually I think I've talked about this before, who expected a calm, quiet street, but moved next door to someone who had frequent outdoor projects and lots of noise. And someone else who bought on a social block expecting community, but turned out to be pretty quiet. So it's a good idea to drive through the neighborhood several times, weekdays and weekends. Notice landscaping, activity, friendliness, upkeep. Even talk to residents. Retirees are often more open to sharing than other people are. Remember, that block on the street is as important as the house. So next, we're going to talk about something that affects every retirement eventually: medical access. Mistake number 2, overlooking proximity to healthcare and essential services. As retirement progresses, access to medical facilities become more and more important, more than some people will admit. Georgetown hospitals vary in their specialties and in their wait times. And let's face it, emergency access time matters. And being too far from medical care can add stress during urgent situations. Here are a couple of real examples. I know a retiree who bought on acreage. It's awesome, it was beautiful, it was peaceful and quiet, but then they realized that their specialist was nearly 40 minutes away. And I met someone else who had bought in a beautiful neighborhood but discovered that urgent care was farther than they had hoped. Now that can change because those clinics tend to come and go. And I've met other people who, well, they just didn't realize how spread out medical campuses are in Central Texas. And yes, Georgetown has great medical facilities, but if you're going to Round Rock, Cedar Park, Austin, you're going to want to map out your distances and when you're going to be driving those. Consider your future needs, not just the current ones, and prioritize convenience, because you'll need that if you need ongoing care. Healthcare access is a major part of retirement planning, and choosing your own areas can make it difficult. More difficult than it needs to be. Now, we're at the number 1 mistake retirees make when moving to Georgetown: choosing the right home in the wrong lifestyle. This is a mistake that creates the most long-term regret from my experience. Retirees find the perfect house, but later realize that their surrounding lifestyle doesn't really fit their needs or their desires for retirement. See, what this looks like is beautiful home, they just love the layout and everything about it, but the community is just too quiet or maybe too busy. Maybe they found privacy, but now everything is a long drive away. Maybe the neighborhood looks great, but it just doesn't match what you do. Maybe you move somewhere to be near hobbies and activities, but chose an area that really doesn't support those hobbies and activities. Maybe the house checks every single box, but the surrounding lifestyle just doesn't. In retirement, your daily routine shapes your happiness. So I recommend starting with lifestyle, pace, convenience, social activity, privacy levels. Then choose the neighborhood, and then choose the house. If you reverse that order, regret becomes almost guaranteed. You see, retirement success in Georgetown, Texas comes from choosing a lifestyle that fits you, and the right home in the wrong place isn't going to feel right, no matter how pretty it is. So in reality, just about every mistake a Georgetown purchaser makes comes back to this truth: if you choose a house before the lifestyle, you're planning backwards. Not only do I see this from a real estate perspective, but it happened to me personally. My wife and I were looking for homes and never really seemed to find one that made sense to us until we narrowed down to the area that we knew and that we liked and that we loved living in. And then the right house came along, and we couldn't be happier since we made that move. But it was the right house in the right area. I hope that makes sense. But the good news is this: every one of these mistakes is completely avoidable with clear planning, understanding your lifestyle, your long-term needs and goals, your budget, and how each part of Georgetown actually feels different. I'm Stuart Sutton, your Georgetown, Texas real estate advisor. My goal isn't just to help you buy a home, it's to help you make the right retirement move for your life. If you're planning to retire in Georgetown, Texas, reach out. Use my contact information below. I'll walk you through a personalized retirement checklist covering lifestyle fit, taxes and insurance, the variety of community rules you'll come across, medical access, 55 plus options, including small acreage in established areas, long-term cost clarity. Your retirement move needs to feel confident, not stressful. When you choose a lifestyle first, the right home always follows.